Maureen's going to be presenting planning and self-study today. All the sessions are being recorded. If you have questions, please enter them into the chat room. And if you could mute your mics so we can hear Maureen's presentation. If we don't get to your questions, we're going to save the questions that were entered into the chat, and we can do a follow-up afterwards. Okay, Maureen?
Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me this morning bright and early to talk about assessment. We're going to talk today about planning and self-study and how we can record learning assessment information and find learning assessment information within planning and self-study. As you probably know, planning and self-study is replacing TaskStream as of this fall. So in TaskStream, we still have all of our historic data up through the 1920 academic year. And starting this fall, we're recording assessment data in PASS, Planning and Self-Study. So the information in PASS will be very similar to the information that we recorded in TaskStream. So we will be recording the alignments between course goals and program of study goals, as well as general education program goals. So those alignments will be recorded in PASS and allow us to navigate and find data by program or by gen ed goal. And then we will be recording the measures that are used for assessment. So the assignments, rubrics, that sort of thing, assessment results, of course, and then any action plans that faculty develop in response to assessment results will be recorded in PASS, and we'll also be able to record the status of those action plans. So if you're somebody who was working in TaskStream at all, the information that we're recording is pretty much the same information that we recorded in TaskStream. The reasons for the switch had a lot to do with the fact that TaskStream was so difficult to use. And planning and self-study is a more user-friendly product and also allows us to download information in a number of different ways, which makes it a little bit more useful for reporting as well. So today our primary activity is going to be actually getting into PASS and taking a look at it. You can access PASS via the portal, and you can see there the icon, which Michael Hunchy told me it's an exploding box.
Our corner.
What's that?
Isn't it the purple one right here?
Yeah, it's the purple one with the arrow.
Right.
So I don't like to think of it as an exploding box. Suggested that it's a quilt. I think that's much nicer. So we'll call it a quilt. So not everybody has an account in PASS yet. So if you're not able to get there yet, it's because your account hasn't been set up yet. So do not worry. All right, so we're going to start our guided tour. I'm going to switch now to my web browser. So obviously this is the portal. Here's PASS right here, the little quilt. So when you select that, if you have an account, it will open up. And this is the welcome page in PASS. Let's move this in. So the welcome page will have your name here. This is a fake account for Susie Snowflake, which is me in my alter ego. On this welcome page, when you scroll down, you will see all of the organizational components that you're associated with. So if you're a dean, your department will be listed here. Okay. And a lot of information about the various assessment activities going on in your department. And as you can see, the strategic plan is in here, operational assessment is in here, program audits are in here. Those are all things that we're not going to talk about today, but there are other ways that we're using planning and self-study. If you are a program or area coordinator, your program will have a box here, and you can see information about your program. So right now, programs I think about 13 programs right now are active doing their program audits. So program audits are accessible via the welcome page for program and area coordinators. And then if you are an instructor or lead for a course, your course or courses will have a box as well. So on your from your welcome page, you should be able to navigate to anything that you need to do within planning and self-study. So it makes hopefully access to things pretty easy. And for most folks, there won't be a whole lot of these boxes. Obviously, you're not going to be associated with everything in the college. So you'll have a few boxes to scroll through to find what you want to work on. So today I want to focus on courses because just like in TaskStream, in planning and self-study, we are recording assessment data at the course level. So I put two courses in here that we could play with. One has information in it and the other does not. So we'll look first at this Fake 101 Fake Course for Training. So the first thing you can see is projects in progress. So this tells you what kinds of assessment projects are going on in this particular course. So this course is scheduled for a course assessment in the 2021 academic year. And one outcome in this course is being assessed. You can see that the outcome has been met. So green, you can see here means met. So this gives you just a quick summary of where things stand with this course's assessment. If you look over here to the right, you see course stats. We're not currently using this. We're not currently associating students with courses in planning and self-study, although that is an option that perhaps we might explore in the future. But right now we're not using that portion. Profile progress tells you what kind of information has been entered for the course itself. So for this course, 2 outcomes have been entered into PASS and they both have been mapped. Probably in most cases to either a program of study goal or a general education goal. So this box is the overview box. To get more detail about this course and what's going on with this course, you can either click the course title or the enter course button over here. So you have 2 ways to get in. When you get into the course, there are 3 tabs that you can navigate through to find information about the course. Letting a couple people in. Okay. So in progress is kind of the same thing that we saw on the welcome page. It shows you what's going on for assessment in this course. So again, we see course assessment 20 to 21. It's in progress. 1 outcome is being assessed. There's 1 measure. There's been 1 action proposed and the outcome has been met because it's green. We can open up the course assessment to kind of dig down and get more detail. So if I open that up, this is the report I can see. So it shows me which outcome. So students will be able to write student learning outcome statements as the outcome. What the measure was. So in this case, homework number 3 was used. This is a direct assessment. It's mapped to, or it's in the Fake Course for Training, Fake 101. The target was at least 80% of students will meet expectations. So that tells you kind of what we planned for our assessment. Letting a couple more people in. The results show us that actually 17% of students exceeded expectations, 67% met expectations, 16% did not meet expectations. So the total that met expectations was 84%, which means that because the target was 80%, we had 84%, the outcome has been met. Analysis is the qualitative information that can be entered. So students struggled with writing outcome statements that were singular. So this kind of tells us a little bit about how people did. There are no actions added for this measure. But if we scroll down, for the outcome itself, this outcome had only 1 measure. Outcome itself, there was an action plan to add additional homework focused on writing singular student outcome statements. And then there's the opportunity to enter a conclusion. So you can enter more reflection there. So this is what, when an assessment has been completed, this is the report that you'll see. So if you want to extract assessment information, this is what it will look like. And you'll see here, you can download it as a PDF. So if you wanted to share it with other faculty, that sort of thing, you get a report to read, and I think a little bit more clear than what we got out of TaskStream. So let me pause for a second and see, do you have any questions about this portion of PASS?
Dr. McCarthy, is there any way to make it a little bigger?
I think so. Let's see.
My eyes are blinding now.
How's that? Is that better?
Like I used to see. Oh yeah, that's good. That's better for me. I couldn't see
Okay,
it. Okay.
Dr. McCarthy, I have a question.
Yes.
I was just wondering, in TaskStream, only one person can go on at a time, and then you have to log out before another person can go in. Can more than one person enter a course?
Yes.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Yep, that was one of the problems with TaskStream and the checking in and checking out and all that sort of thing. All of that is gone in planning and self-study. Okay.
This is great because we could also share this with our advisory committees.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think that PASS gives us downloads that we can actually use, which is nice without really having to fiddle with them too much. If you all will bear with me for a second, I'm going to go back to the home page because I know we had some folks who came in a little bit late, and I just want to remind them, when you enter when you enter PASS, this is the welcome page that you will see. So it will welcome you by name, and then it will show you all the components that you have access to in PASS. And that's labeled My Leadership. So if you are a dean, your department will be here and all the assessment things going on in your department. If you are a program or area coordinator, your program will be here and all the assessment activities going on in your program. And then if you are an instructor or a lead for a course, your courses will be here with all the information about assessment in your courses. So that's kind of where we started. And we've been looking at this course, which already has assessment information entered into it. So we were just in this course. I'm going to go back in. And we were looking at the In Progress tab, which shows us the assessments that are going on in this course. So we were just looking at the report for this course assessment 2021. I want to go to the second tab, Course Information. And this is where you can see the course outcomes. So this course has 2 outcomes. You can see any mapping that's happened. So outcome 1 is mapped to 2 programs or has 2 mappings. Outcome 2 has 1 mapping. And if you want to see the maps, you can go to Edit Outcome Map, and I'll show you what those look like. So this is the outcome map in PASS. So outcome 1, as I said, had 2 mappings. So the first mapping, you can click here to get more information. It's mapped to Fake Program for Training, and the program goal that it's mapped to is here. It's also mapped to the college. So we can go here and see that's where our general education outcomes are. So this outcome is mapped to the social sciences general education goal. And similarly, outcome 2 has 1 mapping to this Fake Program for Training goal, learn how to set up measures. So you can look at the map here and you can also edit the map. So we'll talk a little bit more about how you edit it later, but this is where you can see what the mappings look like. Any questions about that? So in terms of the course outcomes and the mappings to programs of study and general education goals. That's what I am working on. So those will already be entered and set up when you go into your courses to enter learning assessment data. Everything will already be mapped and the course and program outcomes will already be in there. So that's course information. Docs and reports has a couple of different kinds of things in it. So if we go to that tab, it will show you any completed assessment plans. So because we're still in the 2021 academic year, we don't have any completed plans yet. Things that we can export if we want to. So you can export a course outcome details report. This gives you information about what the course outcomes are, where the mapping is, where the assessments are happening. And then the course outcome mapping crosswalk is just the mapping. We also can upload supporting documents here. So if there are things that we want to upload related to this course, we can upload those here. So you have some things that PASS produces for you that you can use, or some things that you can just post here so that you have access to them later. So I'm going to go back to home, my home page. And we were here, a course for training. Any questions about extracting information?
Dr. McCarthy, just a question. Can anyone get into this, or do you need a password or qualification? Yeah.
Great question. So you have to have an account, and not everybody has an account yet. So the accounts are something I have to create. So everybody who's involved in program audits right now has an account. Most other folks do not yet have accounts. I'm
Okay,
still in the
thank-
process. What's that?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure. Yep. I'm still in the process of entering all of the courses and course goals. So right now the programs of study are all in here, all of the program of study goals. All of the assessed course goals for arts are in, and I'm in the middle of business and innovation. So it's just a long process to get it all in there. So once things are in there, everybody will get an account so that you can see your stuff, but your stuff isn't there yet. Other questions? Okay, so we're going to go into this course, Fake 200, which has nothing entered in it yet, so that we can go through the process of entering information and you can see how that works. So again, you can click on either the course title or this enter course button, either one, to go into the course. And you'll see it's set up just like we were looking at before. You have in progress, assessments in progress, course information, and docs and reports. So when we first set up a course, we have to go to the course information tab. And obviously there are no outcomes here yet. So although I'm entering the outcomes, it may come in the, sometime in the future that you have outcomes you want to edit or enter. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's pretty straightforward. There's a button that says manage outcomes. So if you select that, you get to this window, current outcomes. You can see there's nothing here. And you have a button that says create new outcome. So it kind of guides you through it, I think, pretty easily. So when you select the create new outcome, you get this little window. You give your outcome a title. So maybe it's outcome 1, right, outcomes, and then an outcome description. And the way that I've been doing this when I've been setting this up in PASS is the full text of the outcome is in the outcome description. So it's the students will write outcomes for courses or something like that. So that's it. Give it a title, give it a description, click on create, and you have an outcome. Pretty straightforward. You'll see in various places in PASS, this little circle with the 3 dots in it. That's your options. So if I want to go in and edit, I can just click on that and then select edit, and it will take me back in and I can edit what I've entered. So we'll give it another outcome, outcome 2. Design measures. Students will design measures. So that's just a second outcome. Hit create. There we go. I can change the order of the outcomes using these little arrows. So if I want outcome 2 to be first, I just hit the up arrow. If I want it to be second, I can hit the down arrow and it moves it. And again, if I edit, click on the little circle with the dots, hit edit, and then I'm back in this window. I can make any changes, hit update, and the changes will be reflected here. Any questions? Pretty easy.
I have one, Maureen, when you were hovering to edit, it said something about minor changes that will not be recorded. What?
Oh, good question. So there is another option once, and I'm not sure when this will start to show up. You can edit, just make little changes. Those are usually, you know, oh, I left out a word, those kinds of things. Or you can change the version. So if there is an actual revision of a course and its course goals, we can record that in a way that keeps the historic, the old version as kind of an archive. Like, this is what it used to look like. This is what it looks like now. Any other questions? One of the things to note with PASS is that you often will have a save and close button. So you want to make sure that you use that, because if you don't, you lose what you just entered. So we just entered these new outcomes, we created them, but we do need to save them. So I have to hit save and close here, and that's going to take me out of this window. And I'll see that my outcomes are now here. I'm in the course information tab. The outcomes are now here. They've been saved. Any questions about that? You can see that currently there are no connections for either of these outcomes. They haven't been mapped. If I want to map them, I can go, as I said before, to edit outcome map. And I can see, okay, here's my fake program. Maybe I'm going to map outcome 1. So to do a mapping, just go to the plus in the column that you want to map to. And then you get the list of the goals for that program. And I may say, okay, I'm going to map to this program goal. So that's good. And then maybe I'm going to map outcome 2 to a general education goal, which, as I said before, are under Bucks County Community College. So I'm going to go to the plus button here. Here are all the gen ed goals. Maybe I'm going to map this one to scientific literacy. So once the mappings have been made, there's a check mark here instead of the plus. So you can see that those alignments have been made. And then I have a button up here to leave that says create. So it's just like the save and close button. I've got to click that in order to record what I just did. So I can always go back in to edit the outcome map and make changes. I can always go back in to manage outcomes here. And it takes me back to this page where I can enter an outcome to edit it. And now we see the options that that Charlie was asking about before. So edit is minor changes. Revise would be, we've gone to CCRR, we've revised this goal. We're going to put the revision in. Or archive, we decided to delete this through CCRR. We can archive it so there's a record that this used to be a goal. So I can always go back in and make changes. And we can see now that both of these are mapped.
Maureen,
Yes.
would we, so with that, you know, this used to be a goal, we could pull that up. So let's say that would be really good way to show the reason we changed the goal was this assessment. Now we've changed the goal. So you could pull them both up and show loop closing.
Yes, yes. Yep. Okay. So now this course has its course goals. We've mapped them. So I'm going to leave the course information tab and go to the in progress tab. And we can see that this course is scheduled for an assessment in the 2021 academic year. And nothing's happened yet. We haven't identified outcomes or measures or actions proposed. So to get into the assessment and start working on it, just click on the title of the assessment. So Course Assessment 2021. So nothing at all has been set up in here. So we first have to say, okay, which outcomes in this course are we assessing? So just hit the Select Outcomes button. This is the list of outcomes for this course. These are the ones that we just put in there. Interestingly, from this page, PASS also gives you the option to go back in and create outcomes. So if you haven't gotten them all in there, you can do it from here as well. So I can say, okay, I'm going to assess outcome 1. So I select outcome 1 with a little checkbox, and then I go up to apply selection. So now I'm still in the course assessment. I have outcome 1, right outcomes is supposed to be assessed. So the first thing that PASS wants me to enter is the measure. Sorry about my dog. Wolfie. Sorry about that. So I can just click on the plus to add a measure. And then I get this window and it kind of walks me through what I need to do. I am so sorry. So first I can select my measure method. So it's a drop-down menu. In most cases at Bucks, we're usually using either assignments or course exams, sometimes portfolios. So you can scroll through there and select what best represents the measure that you're using. There are a lot of different choices. And there is an other for direct assessments as well if you're using something that isn't listed. So let's say we're using an assignment. It reminds me of the outcome and the course. So I can't edit those. That's already been determined. And then I can give my measure a title. So maybe my measure here is assignment 4. Results collection, this align results button, we are not using. So this is to align with other systems. So we could down the road possibly align a little bit with Canvas, but we're not currently doing that. So just ignore that little button. I can record here the target. So in most cases, let's say, for general education in particular, we typically use a target of at least 75% of students will meet expectations for assignment 4. Okay, so that's our target. That's what we're shooting for. Description. Here I could enter the assignment instructions. If I wanted to, I could enter a description of the assignment. We want to enter here whatever we need to enter to let people know, anybody who's looking at this know exactly what was this, what was assignment 4. So students, let me change that. For assignment 4, students were asked to, I forgot what goal I'm doing. Right outcomes, okay. Right, learning outcomes for a program. So we can enter as much detail there as we like. There is a character limit. I haven't yet figured out exactly how many characters it is. It's quite a few, but I have run out of characters a couple times. And then attachments. This is where if there is a document with assignment instructions, this could be uploaded here. The rubric could be uploaded here. So to attach, you just click on the attached description documents, and then it takes you to your computer. You can search, find the thing that you want to upload, click open. We'll just put this here. And then you can see this document is now here. So the assignment could be here, the rubric could be here. So that's the information it asks for the measures. Once you've input everything you want to input, you can click the add button up here to save it. Let me just let somebody in. So click the add button. It asks me, am I ready to manage my results, to enter my results or not? So ideally, we're entering this assignment information at the beginning of the semester. So I would click no, continue later, because I'm not going to have my results till the end of the semester. So now under our outcome right outcomes, we have a measure, assignment 4. No results have been added. If I'm using a second measure to assess this outcome, I can do the same thing and add another measure, so we can have multiple measures for any outcome. I can go in here and go to the measure details again, which is the page we were just in, and edit the assignment description or what have you. Or I can remove it if I decided, oh, nope, this isn't what I'm going to use. It does have this little, I should point this out, this little collapse caret. So if you click on that, you'll get just the outcome. To see the information, you can expand it and then you see the measure. So there are a lot of little things like this in PASS. So if you see the little carets, that's what they're for. So if I'm now at the end of the semester and I'm ready to put my results into PASS, I use the add results button. So here it first shows me my measure. So this is all the information that I entered at the beginning of the semester about the assignment that I'm using and the target. My attachments are there. So if I scroll down, I have different ways that I can enter results. The method that we are using right now is this one. I want to enter the count of students who meet, do not meet the criteria. So if I select that, then I get pretty straightforward. I enter the number of students that scored at each level. So maybe 5 students exceeded, maybe 15 students met, maybe 3 students did not meet. So this would be, based on the rubric that you used, where did students fall? And then it shows me here the met total. It adds exceeded plus met, because of course those who exceeded did meet. So I can see that 20 students overall met and 3 students did not meet this particular outcome. We're not using this counts for each section right now, but we may in the future. Once I enter my counts, I can click this view results button. And it shows me the percentages. So 22% exceeded, 65% met, 13% did not meet. So those are just the colored bars. And then the total that met, this is exceeded plus met, was 87%. The total that did not meet was 13%.
Maureen, I have a question about usage for this part.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, we found that the exceeded was not very helpful. But we did find weak pass was, or marginal pass was much more helpful in terms of looking at improvement. They used to have approaching, which made no sense, because if it was the first time you did it, how did you know where they were in the process? I see they've got approached. I'm guessing, is this something that we would use as a marginal pass or a weak pass?
You could, but it would be counted as a fail.
Okay. do we have a way of changing?
I think so.
You know, being able to see who's getting it, but not where we would like. Because that really is much more helpful in terms of improvement.
Unfortunately, in this model, in this software, and I don't think we have the option of changing this, they put those folks in the not met category.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we would use our qualitative data and our more specific quantitative data in what we upload to do that.
Right.
And so do we have an idea of if it's just they met or not met, use met, don't use exceeded?
No, some programs are using exceeded already.
Right, but I mean, are they using it for that they actually exceeded the goal? I mean,
Yes.
some of them are not really exceedable.
The ones, the ones that are using the exceeded, met, not met, are using exceeded as exceeded.
Right.
So we can, there's another one of those little carrots. Once the information is entered, we can then upload files. So this is where, Charlie, if you wanted to have a record of that kind of pass, marginal pass, we could upload as a file here. And you can also enter a summary, which we can use for qualitative information if we want to do that here. So we can, you know, although the structure is set here, we do have the option of using these to record what we want to record. So that's just the results, just how did students do? We can record that, we can upload files, we can enter a summary. If we go down to findings, then we also have a place for analysis. So we can select our measure status. Did we meet or not? So we can go back up to kind of remember, what was our target? Our target was at least 75%. Where did we fall? 87% met. So we can say that we have met our target. Here we can enter our analysis. This is another opportunity to enter qualitative information about student performance. Depending on the analysis and whether or not we've met our target, you know, what we find in terms of student strengths and weaknesses, then faculty may decide that we want to create an action plan in response to these results. If not, if we say we met it, everything looked good, we have no concerns, then we would hit save and close. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So now we have here in our course, this is the outcome. We used assignment 4 as a measure. We met our target. I can still go in here and add actions. It also has in PASS, and I'm going to show you this before I do actions because you have two different places you can add actions. So particularly if we've used multiple measures, we might want to use this analyze outcome button, which then allows us to provide some analysis of all of the measures collectively that we've used. And altogether, have we met or not met our outcome for all of the measures collectively? And here we can add an action as well. So the actions can be added at the measure level or at the outcome level. And either one is really fine. They both show up in the reporting. So it's kind of a, what's your preference kind of thing. So I'm going to go into the measure to add the action. So as with pretty much everything in PASS, we can always go back in and change things. So we have here, I can go back into measure details. I can update the measure. I can remove it from the plan. I can go in here to add actions. Now I have my results again. I can edit my results from here if I need to. I can edit my findings. And then here's that add new action button. So let's say we decided an action is needed. So there are a bunch of actions that are preloaded. So we can choose from this list. And if what you want is not on this list, you can choose other. And you can enter what type of action using the little caret. I'm not thrilled with this list, and I've told Watermark I'm not thrilled with this list. I think it needs a little bit of work. So we may find that at least for now, we're largely using the other. So maybe I'm gonna add an additional in-class exercise for practice. Okay. So I hit next. Now I can add my description. Students will complete a group activity, blah, 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 blah. I can indicate the status. So it can be either not started, in progress, or complete. If there's a due date, that can be entered here as well. So this is where we record the actions. Once all of that is entered, you click the Create Action button. And now you can see it's listed under Actions, add an additional in-class exercise. And you see it over here as well. So if we save and close out of there, we go back to our little cards, and we see now for assignment 4, we met the outcome, but we do have an action, add an additional in-class exercise. So we will be able to keep track of action plans in here, much as we did in TaskStream. And we can go into those actions and update the status over time so we can see when they've been completed. Any questions? Okay. So now that I've entered all of this information.
More- I'm sorry, Maureen, I have a couple, and I see Eddie's got one in the chat as well.
Okay.
And my 2 questions was, if we do pick something on that list, is there somewhere that then you can make a comment to be more specific?
Yep, let's go back in and look at that. Let's see.
And then I guess potentially we could, if it was a better list, we could use it quantitatively.
Yes, that's the idea. So let's edit this. Okay, so here we are back at, oh, sorry, I clicked something without meaning to. Hold on. You can tell I haven't used this part that much. All right, let's go back here. All right, so let's go to add new action here, back where we were. So if we select one, let's say it's revised curriculum, you still get the description box, so you can still add in your details for what you're planning to do. It does not give you the option of uploading a file though, so you really have to enter it into the text box.
Another question I had is, I saw how, we could have multiple measures. In some cases, I'm looking at multiple pieces. I'm looking at multiple assignments in order to determine one, they passed, they didn't pass. Would we put that, since it's only getting 1 score per student for multiple pieces of evidence, would we include that as one measure with several assignments attached? So it'd be
Yes.
like assignment 1 + 2 + 3 or something like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Question in the chat, is there a minimum amount of students needed to record results of an assessment? From PASS's point of view, no, PASS will record whatever you put in there. From Buck's point of view, I've been encouraging people to shoot for a bare minimum of 10. So for courses where we're getting assessment results for fewer than that, maybe trying to collect data for a couple of semesters and put it together, assuming you're using the same assignments, so that you get up to at least 10. Other questions?
Dr. McCarthy, we're down to like 4 minutes left.
Okay,
The time check.
thank you. So once I've entered all of this information, I've entered my measure, my results, my action plan, I can hit review and submit. And that is what creates the nice little report that we were looking at the beginning, that you do have the option of downloading as a PDF to share however you want to share it. But it shows you what your measure was, what your results were, what your action is. So I'm just use, you can navigate out of things with these little arrows as well. Just be careful that you haven't entered something you need to save first. So now on my in progress tab in this course, I can see that I have one outcome, one measure, one action proposed, and I'm in progress with my action. So from here, I can go back to home. And that takes me back to my welcome page. And there are my courses. Oh, questions? Any final questions? So as I said, as I'm getting information entered, once everything's ready, folks will get accounts.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I had a question.
Oh, great.
Yeah, excuse me, Iris, I gotta ask a question. Sorry, I have 2 children and I'm doing the things.
No worries.
Yeah. Okay, quick. It was just had to do with when you're doing the tech day sessions, you know, how do we then, after we've done a tech day session, show that we've gotten the professional development? Maybe that's a question for Owen too. Like, you know, so you know that I was here.
Right.
We're recording attendance.
Oh, you're recording attendance? Okay.
Mhm.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks, Owen.
Mhm.
So as I said, folks will have accounts once everything is ready. Meeting with the assessment fellows later this month to talk about how we're going to approach data entry into planning and self-study, whether it's going to be the fellows, the coordinators, individual faculty who are going to be entering information. That is all something that the fellows need to talk about and make decisions about. And certainly there will be conversations more broadly with faculty during the course of the spring semester. So we're still getting up and running, but I think hopefully it is a little more user friendly when you are able to get in there, and will be more useful for everybody. So. Any last questions?
Okay, well, thank you, Professor McCarthy, for your presentation.